Welcome to Now You Know BC. I'm Bob Kronbauer, also known as BC Bob, and on this show I introduce you to interesting people, places to go, things to see, things that have happened in the past. You will hear our collective stories. And this week we're talking all about skateboarding in BC. I've been skating since the early 1990s. I'm old. I worked as a skate mag journalist for years, and in fact, I started the world's first online skateboarding magazine out of my apartment in Kitsilano in the 90s. I have a ton of stories about skating in BC, so you can probably expect at least one episode about it every season of this show from here on out. Let's dig in. Did you know that Canada's oldest skateboard park is now a long-lost monument that was filled in with dirt more than 40 years ago, and that some people are hoping to have it dug up and revived? It's true. This story just found me one day in the grocery store. A guy came up to me in the lineup and he said, "Hey, you're the Did You Know guy?" And I said, "Yep." And then he told me all about a project he's taken on where he and some other people are hoping to literally unearth this thing. Now, most historians will tell you that Vancouver's North Shore has two historic skate parks, Sealand Bowl and Griffin Bowl. They're both still being used, and they were both built in the late 1970s during the height of the first skateboard boom. That boom was largely sparked by the invention of this. Urethane wheels were invented in the early 1970s and are still in use today. Much smoother to ride than the original clay wheels, their introduction basically made skateboarding more fun and easier to do. And after these were introduced, that led to the industry taking off and bowl-style skateboard parks popping up all over North America. These are ones that are shaped like a bowl, and many of them have snake runs, which look like a snake. The one that's buried was called Inglewood Skate Park and was commonly known as the West Van Bowl because it was and still is located in the city of West Vancouver. Well, technically under the city of West Vancouver, and it was opened in 1977 at the height of the skateboarding boom. Like many other skateboard parks that have opened up over the last 50 years or so, it did not come without controversy. A group of homeowners delayed the project by raising a stink and saying that they hadn't been properly consulted for the plans to build the thing. The homeowners said that it would attract vandals and crime, which is what has been said by homeowners near every single skateboard park ever constructed. But West Van City Council eventually voted to approve a $12,800 budget to build it. And it was the first non-commercial skateboard bowl in all of Canada. And the neighbors, they hated it, but the skateboarders, they loved it. And West Van's recreation manager once hailed it as a huge success, telling the local newspaper that he had, and I quote, "never seen such another recreation facility utilized to the extent of this facility." But skateboarding's popularity died off in a few short years, and instead of skateboarders rolling around the park in the early 80s, it mostly became a place where teenagers went to party and vandalize. So the city decided to fill it in with gravel, but with one caveat buried in the meeting minutes of the Parks and Rec Advisory Commission. It said that in the event that interest in skateboarding is revived at some time in the future, it would be relatively simple to remove the fill. The guy who stopped me in the grocery store is an artist and an educator, and in 2012 he teamed up with a group of skateboarders and an archaeologist to dig into the history, and he had an art exhibit in West Vancouver exploring what he called this subterranean artifact. His project was an investigation of subcultural identity and exploration of local history and heritage and debate around public and private spaces. That is to say, in terms that people like me understand, he wanted to dig this thing up. And he still does. And that's why he stopped me in the grocery store. And that's why he stops me every time he sees me in my neighborhood, actually. And I think he's onto something. Skateboarding is hugely popular again, and it's sustained that popularity for a couple of decades. It doesn't appear to be passing like a fad it was in the 70s. And there are actually still a few skate parks just like this buried one that are still in use today. Griffin Bowl and Sealand Bowl that I mentioned earlier, China Creek in East Van, which still has some of its original bowls, along with an upgrade. It's been a few years since Bruce presented his project, but he still has an eye on excavating this thing and bringing it back to life. And he's not alone. Now you know. Coming up next, we have pro skateboarder Joe Buffalo. My guest today is an inspiration to people all over North America. Joe Buffalo is the only professional skateboarder on earth who's also a survivor of Canada's residential school system. He hails from the Samson Cree Nation and now calls Vancouver his home base. And Tony Hawk once executive produced a documentary about his life story called Joe Buffalo, which you can watch on the New Yorker's YouTube channel. Joe, welcome. Thank you for coming here.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
I have a collection of your boards. I have a collection of a lot of skateboards. This one is Chief Poundmaker. This was your first board ever. Very important figure. Your ancestor, Chief Poundmaker.
Yes.
This board has an interesting story behind it. What's the deal with this board?
All right. So this board, I ended up, when I was going to school back then, it says right here, grade 8, I had met a girl who was from Manitoba, and we fell in love, and puppy love. And basically, when school had ended, we had exchanged IDs. So I got her ID and she gave me hers, and I was like, I'll see you next year kind of thing, you know what I mean? And she never showed up again the next year. So I was like, okay, you know, and so anyways, as time went on, when Facebook first became a thing, I got on Facebook. I was a little late, but when I got on, she had hit me up. Her name is Charlotte. Charlotte hit me up and was like, did you get your residential school settled? And I'm like, go on. I was so consumed by my addictions and alcoholism that I would swear at the TV every time I heard anything about it. You know what I mean? And so it turns out the records of us going were destroyed. So there was no proof of me being there. She's like, well, good thing I'm a pack rat. She's like, check this out. And so she sent me a photo of the ID card that she had kept since back then. She's like, what's your address? I'm going to send this to you. So she sent that to me. And not only did it formed some sort of closure that I had, knowing that I was like, hey, look, everybody, I actually went, you know? It was also, it granted me some monetary value from the settlement. And so really it was just a story of like being in this school and just seeing like-minded people all from different walks of life. And just the stories that I've come home with, you know what I mean? To this day, I still share every story that I've ever learned in those while I was there. And so I just figured making this as a graphic would not only tell a story on its own, but it would hopefully inspire others to come forward and tell theirs. You know what I mean? So it's a little emotional for me, but you know, it's like, it's like something I've always wanted, which is just like, and so I collabed with a friend of mine, and yeah, we made it happen. So it was like super, this one hits home for me because of just it's a lot of value and a lot of morals like were instilled when I went to these places, you know what I mean? And I didn't learn it from the school, I learned it from the people, you know? So yeah.
Can people, this was a few years ago, can people still buy this board?
So this board was part of Colonialism Skateboards, and I'm no longer, my journey there has come to an end. And so what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be reissuing these on a drop, as well as this board in the coming months. So you'll be able to get access to this one, and then to follow, I'll have these as well.
Awesome.
And so they'll be limited edition, like signed from both artists and myself, and numbered, and as well as the merch drop that I have that's coming out.
Can you sign these ones for me before you leave?
100%, for sure.
Okay, thanks again, Joe.
Yeah,
thanks for joining me.
it.
Follow Joe on social media. He'll let you know about those drops, and make sure to look up the documentary Joe Buffalo on YouTube. Welcome back to the show. Nina is out on the street talking to people about skateboarding. Nina.
I'm Nina Savage, and this is Street Survey. I'm here at Green Ramp, run by the Vancouver Skateboard Coalition on Granville Island. I'm here to talk to you about skateboarding and what it does for the community.
Who am I? I'm Michelle. I'm just Michelle. But I'm also the co-owner of Anti-Social Skateboard Shop and the president of the Vancouver Skateboard Coalition. And yeah, we're down at the Granville Island Green Ramp.
When did you first start skateboarding?
I think when I was 5, I don't know.
When did you learn to skateboard?
2 years old.
2 years old? This is so young.
I started doing skateboard when I was 5, and yeah, kind of like that. Oh, my dad skates, so when I was 2, my dad used to hold my hands and skate with me on the street, so yeah.
The Vancouver Skateboard Coalition is an advocacy group. Essentially, that's what we started as 25 years ago, just to advocate with the city of Vancouver for space.
What's your favorite part about skateboarding?
It just learn more tricks and do some stuff. Skateboarding with everybody else. Having fun and learning new tricks. Maybe when I do cool tricks, when I started them.
What has been the best part about learning to skateboard?
Doing the crab.
The crab? What's the crab?
Like when you sit down on the skateboard and you do this. Yeah.
And the city is stepping up with the skateboard strategy, so we have got wonderful amenities coming, and it's really exciting to see that happen because we feel like we're always yelling, and now we're working together and talking to skate park builders, and we're getting a new skate park at Slocan and this spring, and that's amazing.
What's hard about it?
That you fall a lot. The hardest part was just going on the board when I was 5, and yeah, just bouncing. It was the hardest thing.
What has been the best thing about coming here to Green Ramp?
I like it because it's smooth, and I can do lots of kick turns and stuff.
Oh man, Green Ramp. Oh man, there's so many answers to that too. But Green Ramp's really important. As you can see right now, it's awesome. There's a bunch of kids. This is just our morning session with the kiddos on Sunday mornings. But Green Ramp's really important for so many reasons. People feel safe because they're here with people. There's a covered roof, which is amazing. We need dry spaces being here in Vancouver.
If you could design your own skateboard deck, your own design, what would you put on it?
Pokemon Pokemon.
What would you put on it?
French fries.
French fries? Just a bunch of French fries?
Yeah, we have different sessions, but we want everyone to come. Skate. That's the only message I have.
Do you think you're going to be skateboarding for the rest of your life?
Yeah, I think so.
Skateboarding is more than just a sport. It's a community, it's a resource, it's awesome. So if you can come out to Green Ramp, definitely do, or go to your local skate park. This is Street Survey, and I'm Nina Savage.
We're going on a BC road trip to Galiano Island, the recent home of former semi-pro skateboarder and now best-selling Canadian author Michael Christie. This episode's theme is skateboarding, and I'm sorry to say that that is the only thing that's skate-related about this wonderful little Gulf island, except they do have a little skate park here. But that is not why we're going here. We are going here to escape from concrete, to relax, and to see some wildlife, specifically deer, sea lions, maybe a whale or two, maybe a mink even. This is on the traditional territory of the Hul'qumi'num-speaking people. I've been coming here for 15 years with my family for a number of different reasons. One being that it's only an hour ferry ride from Tawasin, but it feels like you are an absolute world away. Another is that I found the perfect little escape at the north end of the island. It's called Bodega Ridge Resort, and it's one of the most peaceful spots you can imagine. You rent out your own entire 2-story cabin, which sleeps a minimum of 6 people and serves as your home base to explore. They got full kitchens, wood-burning stoves. You're basically living on Galiano Island for a few days. It's not a hotel. And when I say it's like another world, there's only a few stores and restaurants on the island, and I mean literally a few, and they're all spaced apart and they're tucked away into the trees. One of them is on site at Bodega Ridge. It's called the Pink Geranium, and it has pretty much everything you need, from groceries to sandwiches, toothpaste, and of course, some great coffee. Another spot with a different vibe is called the Hummingbird Pub. All the locals are here, and if you've got an open mic flavor, you want to go see people playing instruments and drink some beers, have some burgers, and a surprisingly good butter chicken dish for a place that is definitely not an Indian restaurant, that is your spot. One of the crown jewels of the island is Montague Harbor Marine Park, which is a fairly large provincial park that you can go hiking and beachcombing at. There's camping here if you're not into the whole resort experience. Also, all along the single road that goes up and down the island are little beach access spots where you can pull over and explore the beaches without worrying that you're invading on somebody's property. It's kind of hard to tell where you are. Are you on somebody's yard or are you in the middle of the wilderness? When your time's wrapped up and you're waiting for the ferry to go back to the city or wherever you came from, be sure to check out Galiano Island Books, which is just steps away from the ferry terminal. And enjoy your BC road trip. Stick around because when we come back, we're going to go to the Museum of Vancouver and find something interesting from skateboarding's past. This piece of history is proudly supported by the Museum of Vancouver. Vancouver's story begins here. Welcome back to the show. We are in the basement at the Museum of Vancouver, also known as Collections Storage. This is where they keep all the stuff that you don't get to see except on TV and on their social media and all kinds of other places. But today we're talking about skateboarding. And a long time ago, there was actually a fantastic show about skateboarding here that PD from Skull Skates, the brand that was started in Vancouver more than 40 years ago, put together. There was a book. There was all kinds of other stuff around it. More recently, this is Sharon. She's from the Museum of Vancouver. And she did a show. What was the show?
Oh, so we were a destination for the traveling exhibit Border X, which was curated at the Winnipeg Art Gallery. And then whenever we host a show, we like to kind of bring a Vancouver element into it. So we worked with Nation Skate Youth on some programming around the show. And then we later collected a few pieces for the collection that are Nation Skate Youth. But we also did a side exhibition at the time called Skate for Change, where Norman Ibarra and Tristan Henry each went out and did photographs with local skaters. So Norma did the female skaters and Tristan the male skaters, including Joe Buffalo. And they did we printed them poster sized and did an exhibition. And then there were a couple little videos as well that were, it was just after COVID. So we had money for digital content. So we had them make a couple small videos to go in the exhibition as well.
Cool. So there were two running in tandem, the local one and the one from Winnipeg. And then you guys made this book afterward?
So we didn't make the book. Nation Skate Youth did the book. It was a fundraiser for them, and the proceeds went to the Indian Residential School Survivors Society. But I collected the book, to support what they were doing, but also because some of the photos from the exhibition are featured in the back of the book, including this one of Joe Buffalo.
Yeah, Joe's on our show today. Yeah,
and so that's Tristan Henry's photograph. So he's also one of the Nation Skate Youth founders, I would believe. Yeah, cool. And then they even were we had a skateboard ramp in the galleries during that show that Vans sponsored the exhibition, so they built us a skateboard ramp, and then we had Nation Skate Youth running programming here at different times, and we also had a local skateboard group called Spectrum Skateboard Society who ran some programs, and they were autistic youth. So.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. And you have this board as well in the collection.
Yeah, so we got
Tell us about this board.
Years ago. We don't really have a lot of skateboards in the collection, and so I like that this was Rose Archie, and that she's big with Nation Skate Youth and a presence in Vancouver, and I thought it would be a nice piece to collect. And then it's also got a jingle dress on it. Yep. And the story behind the skateboard was, about the potlatch ban and people not being able to wear their regalia. And so the importance of, showing this beautiful jingle dress that I believe her sister made for her.
Fantastic. Okay. Yeah. And Rose is one of the founders of Nation Skate Youth as well. She's in the book. She's in the show as well. That's fantastic. Yeah. She is from Secwepemc, but she lives in Vancouver and is a pro skateboarder. And this was, I believe, her first pro model skateboard. And it's in the collection at the Museum of Vancouver. When's the next skateboarding show going
I'm not sure yet. But yeah, definitely, we like to keep it contemporary here, and I'm betting we'll see some more. Yeah.
That was awesome. They have so many things at the Museum of Vancouver, in the archives, and on public display. We're going to be going there every episode this season, and that is the show for this week. Big thanks to Joe Buffalo, to Casey Hall from the Healthsick Nation for making this t-shirt for me, show director Derek Wong, roving reporter Nina Savage, editor Arav, and everybody at employee-owned CHEK Media. Follow me on social media for more stories, and check out my quarterly digest, the Now You Know BC Almanac, at bcbob.ca. You can buy copies there for $25 and subscribe to my newsletter where I do regular giveaways, sometimes for this. And of course, I will see you here on CHEK next week when I'll be telling you more stories about this great province of ours. And now you know BC. Now You Know BC is brought to you by your Pacific Toyota dealers. Explore our province in the all-electric BZ. Fast charging, long range, and ready for adventure.